Oxford ELLT Spotlight is an adaptive English language placement test that can be used by institutions that need to determine a candidate's level of English. This could be for going on to a language course, into a course of higher education study, or for kind of junior language programs. The vision for Spotlight was always to build a test that could be used by multiple different partners at the same time for slightly different purposes. We carried out a lot of research prior to developing our Spotlight test by talking to partners, by talking to universities, language schools, etc. And we wanted to gauge what they really wanted. And the overwhelming feedback that we received was that everybody uses a placement test, but actually what they use wasn't always quite fit for purpose, or because they were already utilizing other testing methods, for example, an in-person speaking test, they didn't always need everything that the provider was trying to provide them with. So really that kind of led our development, and what we wanted to do was create something that could be as customizable as possible, so that institutions and partners would be able to essentially build their own perfect test, not having to incorporate elements that they didn't need, but also, making sure that what we were providing was everything they did need. And so we looked at all of the different components, from the skills tested, from the security aspects, from the levels tested, and decided to break it down into building blocks so that an institution, a partner, would essentially be able to build up a test that was fit for them, fit for their students, and most importantly, fit for purpose. So having done that, we now have the ability to sit down with a partner and go through exactly what they need. We can choose from 6 different skill components: reading, listening, writing, speaking, grammar, and vocabulary. 4 or 5 different levels of security, depending on where the students are completing their test, whether they are at home, whether they are in a school, where they are, on the go, as it were. And then also the level of the test, whether the test results go directly to the students, whether the branding of the test is our own branding or the institution's. And from the feedback that we've got already, people seem to be very pleased with the fact that they can build their own test, and they don't need to be bound by just off-the-shelf solutions that other test providers are offering.
So the Spotlight ensures its academic standards align with the CEFRA by designing the test and the test items to match the descriptions of the language ability outlined in the CEFRA levels from A1 to C2. Each level in the CEFRA describes what a learner can do in reading, writing, listening, and speaking, which are our skills. And then it also outlines the grammar and vocabulary that the test takers should be familiar with at each level. So using all of that, we benchmark the Spotlight to those levels. And this means that students taking the test are assessed against internationally recognized standards. And then by that, we can ensure that their results accurately reflect their proficiency in English.
So I would say that the academic expertise is the heart and soul of the entire test. It starts with Luigi, our academic manager, and his team in the head office, who effectively carefully look at the design task. They look at how that converts into content brief. They look at what it means in terms of examiner training as well as student experience. So that is incredibly powerful group of people that sort of oversee the higher level of the test. But it doesn't end there. The next very important group of people are our content writers, who are not only professionals in the field of testing, but they really are professionals from all walks of English teaching and learning fields, who are very experienced with CFR and who know what effectively that means when designing test items and test content. And last but not least, it's obviously also our examining team, who are qualified, experienced examiners who are used to working with guidelines, rubrics, and various assessment methods in order to evaluate, obviously, those components of the test that are evaluated by a human being, which is writing and speaking. We are incredibly proud to still have this component because sort of computer adaptive tests very often are fully computer-based without any input from human beings. And in today's DNA and the world of AI, I think bringing in that human expertise is actually an incredibly powerful tool, and it allows us to kind of have a second pair of eyes, obviously, on the test results and students' performance. So our examiners go through vigorous training, standardization, and we are proud and happy to be working with such an incredible group of people.
With the Spotlight test will provide reliable, detailed results that show exactly where a student's language ability lie within the SEFRA. So those results will help educators and institutions alike place students onto the right course or learning pathway for their level. This means, obviously, that students start at the right point, which then maximizes their chances of not only improving, but also achieving their learning goals, which for us, obviously, is the most important.
With adaptive assessments, as students answer questions, they will increase or decrease in difficulty depending on correct or incorrect answers. What we've decided to do here is to group the questions into sections and actually allow for students to progress through different sections at certain levels, and for the adaptive nature to happen against the sections rather than on an individual question basis. The way that we're able to tailor it towards to the partners would be to allow them to increase or decrease the number of sections that they want to assess against. And within those sections that they assess on, you can actually customize the level of security or lack thereof in order to accommodate for a student's needs. So in terms of the security, we're able to take on all of the security features that we have on our existing ELLT platform. That covers ID verification, and it also covers the ability to monitor the students and their progress throughout the test, whether it's through their webcam or their activity on the actual device, and their progress throughout the test.
The adaptive nature of Spotlight test ensures that each student has a personalized testing journey, and it also ensures that no two students would ever have the same test. Adaptive testing is bespoke to that student because it's based on the answers that the student gives.
And the reality of it is the test itself will be tailored to their abilities. So a student won't be answering a whole bunch of questions that are either too easy or too hard for them, but actually will be answering questions that actually relate to them, so that they actually keep motivated throughout the test because they're not just bombarded with too easy or too hard questions.
This is, a great way of testing a candidate because it enables the candidate to complete content that is at their level. Rather than asking the student to answer questions that may be too easy or too difficult, the student is able to access content that's at their level, which enables them to be able to progress through the test, feeling confident so that they're able to get a result at the end that is very accurate to their level. Because of the adaptive nature, it also saves the students time because they don't have to answer questions that are outside their ability. They're able just to focus on their own level, their own content. So actually, it's a time-saving way of getting a student to complete a test as well.